I'll start the explanation. So, like I said, this game is going to be played over 5 rounds. Each round we get to take 6 actions. The actions we'll take will depend on the cards that we have. So each round is divided into 2 phases. The first phase is the card phase, and then the second phase is the unification phase. In the card phase, the very first thing we do is we'll get 2 cards from each of those stacks. There are 3 stacks. There's a currency stack, law stack, and writing stack. They all have certain properties. So let's bring them into the center so that we can read a little bit. So notice that it says that the writing cards range in number from 1 to 40, the currency card from 41 to 80, and then the law cards from 81 to 120. Then this is how they're going to look. Let's draw 2 of them. They have a few things going on. There is a color that just indicates what deck they come from. So orange is that currency deck. Then there is this, which tells you what reward they will give you if you bring them into your home world. So this says it'll give you a currency reward, which is orange, which is this disc. And this similarly will give you the writing reward, which is the ivory disc. Okay. Then this says what action on the main board will help you activate this card. So notice, we'll talk about the main board action. There are 6 main actions on the board. So this card, for example, says if you had this in your province and you took the governor action, which is right there, you could potentially do this, which just says improve how pissed off your people are, basically. Similarly, this one says if you do a palace action, which is here, you could potentially get a white official. Is there a white official? I'm going to say that for now. We'll see. It might mean something else. So that's how the card is going to be organized. It has these few things. So like I said, each turn we'll have 6 cards in our hand, 2 from each deck. When it's my turn, the card actions I can do are following. There are basically 2 big choices. You can either play a card on the main board to do one of these 6 actions I hinted at, or you can play a card onto your personal board so that you beef up these. So for example, if I had this already in my, I broke my game. If I already had this in my world, in my province, then in the future, if I take the palace action, I could potentially activate this to get extra benefit. So those are the 2. You can either build your engine or you can do the big actions that are going to be done there. So there's a push and pull. Of course, you want to build your engine, but you don't want to spend all your time building engine and not doing anything else, because the only way they give you real benefit is if you take the main action. So let's go over those 2 big things. The first big thing is playing the card in front of you. Playing card in front of you is pretty simple. If you do that, you will choose a card that you want to play, and you'll choose one of the 5 regions. By the way, a side note, each of these regions also correspond to a region on the main board. So notice this is region number 1, that is region number 1, and so on and so forth. So coming back to the first thing where I'm tucking a card under my board. So I can choose this card, any card from my hand, and tuck it under any region. All right. When I do that, this is what happens. It shows that when you tuck a card, if it's the first card in a region, you get a unification token of the corresponding color. So in this case, it's the writing, and writing is the ivory one. So we get the light token. I'll get that. Okay. Then suppose it was my second turn. So I took my turn, Khan did, you did, comes back to me. And then maybe I again want to tuck this in here, which is something I can do. If I do that, this is my second card. So it says, when you tuck your second card, you get 2 discs of the color you just tucked in. So the color that you're tucking in is the one that matters. So in this case, it'll be orange. That I'll get 2 orange discs. Furthermore, my unhappiness token, unrest token, goes up 1 step in that region. So right now, none of us have any black tokens on our thing because there's 0 unrest. However, the first time I tuck a second card, it gives me a single unrest. So basically, it was 0 on the side, and from 0, it'll go to 1. Okay. Unrest can be bad because notice as you get more and more unrest, you'll go to the right. After certain points, some actions will become unavailable to you. So once you hit if we're looking at the rightmost region, once I reach the 3rd spot, I cannot do the palace action anymore. Once I hit the 4th spot, I cannot activate any cards for their special benefits in this region. So you don't want too much unrest.
So you cannot do the palace action only when you play a card in this region or in any region? You cannot
So
do the
in basically you cannot do the palace action in this region.
only in the-
Yeah. So when you're building a palace, I'll talk about those actions in detail, but palace will go in the corresponding region, and this is saying that you can no longer build a palace in region number 5. If I had gone here, then of course I cannot build the palace in my region number 5, and I cannot I cannot activate any of these cards that I have. So in the future, if I took a governor action, since I have reached there, I won't be able to activate this person.
How do you get all the way up there if this one only has 3 on there?
So this is a total of 3, but there are other things that you do. There are other actions that you do that will also give you unrest tokens. So you want to kind of manage that as well. All right, so that's the first kind of thing that you can do with your card. Basically boosting your engine, tucking them under. And when you tuck, you will also get these unification discs, which come in handy in the second phase, which is the unification rewards. Okay, the next thing you can do is taking an action on the main board. The way you do that is you pick any card, doesn't matter what color, doesn't matter what number, nothing. It just you play a card and you choose one of the 6 actions to do here. Okay, so now what are these actions? The first action is building a wall. I'll go into the detail. I'm just going to give you a schema of what they are. Building a wall. When you're building a wall, there are a few spots to build. These are the spots which have rods on them. So 1, 2, or 3, 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 1, 2, or 3. So there's a total of 6 different regions. Okay, and they all correspond to these 6 different tiles. So that's the wall building action. To build the wall, you need workers. Basically, that's the main thing you want. You want workers to build the wall. In order to build a palace, you will need workers as well.
Which ones are the workers?
They are those tokens that are somewhere right there. The hammer token. Yeah.
Okay.
They will, once you get them, they will come here and sit with you. Okay. So building a palace also requires workers. Furthermore, when you build a palace, you will also get the giant fat token. I'll have to recall which color token you get. I don't remember right now, so I'll have to look that up. But yeah, you can get these giant tokens, which are worth 3 points. The way we will use these tokens in the next phase of the game, in the second phase of the round, is by basically claiming these extra rewards. So the more you have, the better chances you have. But
Say again, please.
I when you have these unification tokens, they will help you win these. There's kind of like majority thing going on. And as the round progresses, the rewards get better and better. So you're kind of basically holding these resources so that during the unification reward phase, you can actually get those rewards. So there's a little bit of a push and pull. Again, you don't want to have 20 of these because you're going to lose them all anyway. So you're basically keeping an eye out.
Is the giant one worth more?
Yes, it's
How
worth
much?
3. Yeah.
3. Okay, I
Yeah.
missed that
Okay. Yeah.
detail.
So that's what you were not paying attention. Okay. All right. Then there is the worker action that lets you generate more workers. And like I said, workers are needed for both building the wall and building the palace. Then there is the reassignment action that lets you reassign your officials. So we will have some officials sitting on our board, and this is the action that lets us move them around to adjacent places marked by these arrows.
So you can move up to 3, or you can...
Yeah, you have 3 reassignments, and you can spend it all on one, or you can spread it around. And this lets you gain a new official of your choice. So there are 3 different colors of official: white, gray, and red. You can choose one. And this lets you install a governor. Installing a governor gives you a few benefits. One, it'll give you an immediate benefit. When you install the governor, you can get 4 reassignments, or a cube of your choice, or 4 victory points. And at the end of the game, there's also victory points to be had for having majorities. So you want governors in certain areas to basically assert majorities. The person who has the most has the majority gets 9 points plus 3 for each governor that they do have there. So it could be a big source of points. So those are the basic actions.
So once you place the governor, you cannot remove it, right?
There's no removing of governor or palace or cards. Yeah, once thing is there, it's there. So even with the cards, and for tucking the cards, 3 is the maximum. And once you have that, there is no moving things around. So you don't want to. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at a little bit of the detail on how these actions are done. The wall action. In order to do the wall action, you will require 1, 2, or 3 workers depending on whether you're putting it down on 1, 2, or 3 pipes. So you'll basically choose a wall that you want to build, a section of the wall that you want to build, and you'll spend 1, 2, or 3 workers and then spend them to put a section of the wall. So we all have a section. Maybe I chose 2, I can put that. When you're choosing more than 1, then the
upside
workers,
down.
huh?
It's upside down.
Sure.
And then
Okay. When you're choosing the workers for building a wall on difficult places that are 2 or 3 pipes, they must come from different regions. So I cannot, if I was building a tier 2 wall, I cannot pick a stack of 2 workers from a single region. They must come from different walls. Furthermore, you cannot have more than one wall, contribute to more than one wall in a section. So this means if I've done this, it is not allowed for me to basically build this or that anymore. So I can only have 1 at most in each section, so at most 6. So that's the wall action. The reason you might want to do the walls is one, each wall section will be evaluated, and this is basically saying something like for every orange card you have, you get some points, and the difficulty of the wall determines what's the multiplier. So if I had 5 cards and I have contributed to 2, that's 10 points. At least that's my interpretation of this wall objective. We'll see what exactly that is. This one I remember. It's basically for every set of 3 cards, you get a point, and then you get a multiplier based on whether you're here, here, or here. So 2, 3, or 4. Okay? All right, so that's the details of the wall action. Details of the palace action. In order to build the palace, you will take 2 workers from a region where you want to build the palace.
So this is part of the wall action as well? Did you
Sorry?
explain this?
So I just explained the first one, which is the wall action.
Right,
And
but-
now I'm going to the palace action.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll go to the worker action and
Oh,
so on
okay.
and so forth. Okay.
I thought this was all the wall.
No. Okay, building a palace. Yes, so in order to build the palace, you need to have 2 workers in the region you want to build. So suppose I wanted to build a palace in region number 3. Then I must take 2 workers from that region, spend them, and I take 1 more worker from any other region of my choice. I believe it's any region of my choice and not adjacent. Let me quickly look that up if that's gonna make a difference for us. One official of his choice from a supply. No, sorry, let's recruit up. From a different region of his choice. Yeah, so you take 2 from the region you want to build in, and then 1 from somewhere else, and then you get to put down your palace. That's my palace, and there's a location, so I'll put there. Yeah. Okay, when you do that, you get 2 benefits. 1, you get to take one of the giant ones of your choice. So if I was really willing to go for this reward maybe, then I can say, hey, I'm gonna take this orange, because hopefully it'll help me make sure I get that reward. That's the first thing you do. And then the second thing you get is you get 1 point for each card that you have tugged on your board. So this could be a really big point swing. So if you build a palace late in the game and you have tugged like 10 cards, it's like like 10 points. Okay, so those are the 2 benefits you get for building the palace. And palace can also help you in some other objectives that we'll look at the very end. They are the tasks. Okay, so the next action is hire a worker. The way you hire a worker is, notice I said that there are ways to get these officials. In fact, on our board, it shows we each start with 2 red and I believe it's a gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, two red and a gray official. So we all get that, 2 red and a gray. And they start in the mayor section, I believe that's called, or governor section, which is the top half of the board, and then the bottom half is the worker section. So the way you generate workers is, there are ways to move these officials around. So suppose I had done at some point in the game this. So I have 2 officials sitting in my worker spot, and this maximum 2 is what can be held in the bottom. Upper has no limit. And then I do a generate worker action. I get to generate as many workers as is the number of officials I have, so I can generate 2 workers right now. So I'll generate 2 workers here. If I had only 1, of course, I'll generate 1.
Is it only in one
Wait,
region?
how do they get there?
remember you can move them around.
Okay.
There is the reassignment and there's also some free movements. In fact, notice that this arrow has a check mark on it. So basically it says moving things down is free. So you can anytime move something from the top to the bottom.
Okay.
So going from here to here is free. So within the same region, going from the governor to worker is a free action. So you have them there, suppose you move them, and then you generate workers. So you will generate as many workers as the number of officials, and then you will gain 1 unhappiness, 1 unrest. It's always 1 unrest, it's not 1 unrest per worker or anything. So you probably want to optimize and just generate 2 workers in a single shot if possible.
So you generate only in one region or in other regions?
In the region, in a region of your choice.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the first benefit. What's the second one?
No, it's just saying that generate workers, gain unhappiness, and you can generate as many workers as the one worker per cube
okay,
you have.
Okay, so I read that,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, wrong. Yeah, whatever.
All right. Then the next action is very simple. It's just 3 reassignments. Reassignments can only happen adjacent. So basically, the arrows are what determine the reassignment. So this, for example, will be 1 step, going from left to right, right to left. So you can go to adjacent governor region. Notice going down is free always, so I can do that anytime. And then going up will take 1 step if I wanted to do that. And going right or left is 1 step. So basically you can go right or left, which is 1 step. And you can either do it in the worker section or the governor section. And the third thing you can do is go up. So those are the 3 movements that cost anything.
So if it's like this, right, and
This
this
cannot
one
be here,
is
yeah.
here, can I do 1, 2,
Yes. Yeah.
even if there's no spot there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You cannot stop at that place, but you can pass through.
Okay.
Good question. Yeah. Yeah. So they've mentioned that specific case. So you can pass through, but you cannot stop. So that's the reassignment. The next thing is just straight up hire. So you can just say I'm hiring an official in a region of your choice, and maybe I really want a gray official. Then I'll
What do
get a
these
gray.
correspond to? Like, I thought that was what you were describing.
I'm describing this action right now, and then this.
So why are this?
We haven't gotten to that action.
Okay.
That's why.
It just seems very. It just doesn't seem.
So
to
just look at
correspond.
these symbols. So it's saying the wall action is described here, the palace action is described here, the worker
Sure,
action is
I get it,
described
I got
here,
it.
and then the mayor action or the
If I
governor
could-
These
action.
2 are not then.
Right,
These 2
right.
are very simple,
If
so
I
they
look
don't need.
closer, I
Okay.
actually see that there is a guy sitting there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we talked about this one, and now the very last is the governor. The way the governor work is, again, you'll have to choose a region. Then in that region, you must have an official of each color. So there should be at least 3 official, and they should be all different colors. And then you can remove those official to, in this case, I will put a mayor in region number 3. And, in region number 3, and then I can choose where I want. So there are 3 spots, 3 big spots. In the future, I can still bring, so suppose these 3 were taken, I can still bring a mayor, but he'll just hang around. So it's not that these are, that there,
No
it's
benefit.
not the case that there's a limit to 3 mayors, it's just that the first 3 will get a reward.
Sure.
So in this case, maybe I really want to reassign my people, so I can do that, or I can gain a person, or I can straight up gain 4 victory points. Okay. Also, when you do that, it says get rid of all the unrest. So this could be really useful. If you were really hurting on unrest, it just removes them. So
Only in that region.
in that region, it goes to straight up goes to 0. Okay. So that's the governor action, and those are all the different things you can do. Now notice, so we talked about playing this card, and like I said, when you play this card, you can play whatever card. As long as you have a card to play, you can do any action you like. However, you can get interesting bonuses if there are certain things that happen with the numbers. So for example, for these 3 actions, it says if the card that you have played is of higher value than the previous card, you can activate all the corresponding powers on your board.
It's higher than what?
Wait, what?
Is higher than the previous one. So suppose
Previous what?
previous card that's sitting there.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's going to be in a stack.
Okay, give us
Wait, I
an
don't-
example.
sorry.
So that's a 115.
So this, at the very first, you can choose it to be any number. So if it's my turn and I'm playing, I'm going to say this is a 0 or like 1, whatever. Yeah.
X is a 10.
Okay, sure, in your world. So I'm calling it a 1, and then I'm playing this. So notice I can always do, irrespective of the card, I can always do my basic action, or the main action here. And then since the card that I played is higher, and I'm doing say I am doing the, well, in this case, it doesn't work out. Let's take a different example. Let's say when I was playing it, I choose this to be 120. Okay, so I played this is lower, and then I did the governor action, and so basically I dropped my 3 cubes and I installed my governor, and then since I played a lower card, I can actually activate all the things that have a governor condition on my board. So in this case, for example, I have this, which says whenever you do a governor action and manage to activate, then you get this benefit. I don't know for sure what this benefit is, but it seems like maybe it's reducing one of your unhappiness, one of your unrest. So if I was here, I could have gone there. Okay. So to reiterate, you can always do the basic action, but in order to pull off all these specials that you have in your tableau, corresponding to an action, you must either be lower or higher depending on which action you're doing. So in order to pimp off of your, or like whatever, mooch off of your wall, temple and worker action, you need to play a card that's higher value so that you can trigger all your wall, temple and worker actions on the board.
You only activate one, right?
You activate all of those.
All of them?
So if I had 6 things that had the mayor on it, or the governor on it,
To the mayor action.
yeah, so because I'm taking the mayor. So it's basically the main action you take could trigger auxiliary things. But in order to trigger those auxiliary things, the card has to have an order.
Okay.
So for the wall, temple, and worker, the card has to be greater to basically use up your other auxiliary actions or other tableau actions. For the hire an official and install a governor, it has to be lower. And there is no auxiliary action that can be taken with the reassignment action.
Okay.
Okay. So we will never see a card that will have reassignment as a action condition on our board. Okay, so those are all the main actions. So we'll take those one by one, and then once we have taken those 6 actions, that's the end of the round.
One more question.
Yeah.
Going back to the basics. Playing a card, does it cost anything?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so once we have done that, then we are done with the card phase. Then the next phase is
When does the number change?
Each card is
each card is played on top of the other, right?
I
And
thought
they all
each card
have.
was taken and tucked in.
No, so you can either tuck it in or
Or
you can
play
place
it-
it there.
Yeah, I knew I missed that part.
Okay, thank you, Remy.
Okay. And placing it here does what again?
So here you can choose the actions. If
Oh,
you
thank
tuck
you.
it in, then you get
You just gain the. Oh, okay, gotcha.
you get the
Gotcha.
token at the top, right? You don't get to do the governor action.
When you tuck,
Right.
no.
Great explanation, Remy.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we went over all this, but of course you were thinking about stuff. Okay, so once we're done with the card phase, we'll get to the unification rewards. And like I said, so we will each. Why are we sitting here? Okay, yeah, we should be here.
No. Yeah, yeah.
What are you
We should be.
doing?
These are placed randomly. First player is placed here. All these are random.
Yeah.
This is the round marker.
Ah, okay, all right.
So one of them goes up there, first
Sure.
player, and then everything else is randomized.
Exactly. So suppose this was the situation, and now we're gonna start doing that unification rewards. The way that works is we'll do each row by row. So we'll do the unification reward for the ivory row, which is the writing row, and this basically means we'll see whoever has the most unification token of that color. Suppose in this case, this was the situation.
The big ones break tie.
Yeah, big one's just 3. No, it doesn't break tie. It's just 3.
Oh, it doesn't break ties.
No. So in this case, Khan has 3, I have 2. So Khan has the option of claiming the unification reward. But you can also decline. You can say, nope, because you want to save on to those, hold on to those, because you're thinking, you know what, I'm going to wait for 3 more rounds and then claim that, or something like that, which is a bigger reward. So the majority player gets the option, but they can pass. Then it comes to the second most. And again, I have the option to accept or pass, because if I accept, I'll lose all of my tokens, and so on and so forth. If no one accepts anything, then, well, too bad, nothing happens, and we move on to the next row. But if I did, so suppose in this case, Khan didn't, but I did. So I will actually,
You have to spend all of them.
yeah, sorry.
All of them of that color?
Yeah,
or
all of them that color.
Okay.
Because that was the bet. That was the auction, or whatever the contest we were in. So I do that. Then we'll have the similar thing for that, and so on and so forth. So in this case, again, maybe I was like super like hoarding all these tokens, so I could have gone for that as well. And then for the next one, maybe blue had saved up the brown ones and then they went that. Once we do that, then we will reassign player order. And the player order is first, this is the priority, and then this. So it will be red, yellow, purple, blue. Okay. Also, if there are ties are broken in that order as well. So suppose in this case, both blue and purple had the same number of tokens. So suppose this was the situation. And suppose now we are doing brown. Red and yellow don't have any browns. Purple and blue have the same number of browns. The tie will be broken in favor of purple.
Okay.
Yeah. However, if blue was there, tie would be broken in favor of blues because it's this and then that.
Okay.
Right? So this, so you'll see whoever is top on this track, and then so this is this, and then this is the secondary one.
It's always the
I'm
top
so
stuff.
confused.
So
So
you
player order is coming this way.
player order
and then
as
this
well
way.
as precedence order whenever ties need to be broken.
Why are there so many columns?
Because
There is a column corresponding to each round,
as this
Okay.
moves,
and that's just the basic column. It's called the
right,
reward column.
as
It's
this
always
moves,
there.
these are the rewards change.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
choose something prior, or you
No.
must always choose the
You
current?
choose the one that is in the current round.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's the unification phase. So we will do that, and like I said, you can save up at the end of the very end of the game. We also, for anything that we have saved up, we will get points for the majority. So anyone who has saved up the most ivory ones will get 5, then 6, then 7. Okay. So yeah, that's how the game will proceed. We'll do it over 5 rounds. At the end of the game, there's going to be a few things that's going to score. Like I said, our walls will score. Our gunner will give us majority points. Then there are also these tasks, which I haven't talked about yet. The way the tasks work is that there are 2 main sections. There are 2 sections, the green section and the brownish section. Each section has certain objectives that it wants you to do. So for example, this says you can claim a spot in this subsection if you have contributed to to 2 walls in the blue region and 1 wall in the yellow region. So basically, if you have done these 2 and that. Once you've done that, then you can actually put one of your token down, which should be hanging around somewhere. Yeah, it should be here.
Free action, right?
Yeah, it's a free thing. You just get to do that. Yeah.
And you
Okay.
can only have one in each one. Each player can have one.
Each player can only have 1 token in each row. Yeah. Then similarly, this one says you need a palace in number 3, 4, and 5. And this one says you need a governor in number 1, 3, and 5. Okay. And similar things for the bottom ones.
Red, you're missing one.
Furthermore, the way these things work is kind of interesting because you want to focus on a single region because you get multipliers. So suppose I had put 1 here, like blue had put 1 there, and then maybe blue had managed to put 1 there, and then blue had managed to put 1 there. Since they have contributed to all 3 in a section, they get a 3 multiplier. So their points are actually going to be 3 plus 3 plus 3, so 9 times 3. If they only had 2, that's a double multiplier, so that's 6 times 2, 12, and so on and so forth. So if you're focusing, you probably want to focus a little bit more on a single region than completely like spreading yourself thin between those 2, unless you think you can do everything.
Jeremy can.
What? Who's Jeremy?
He can spread.
Oh, Jeremy Spreadums, yes. That's true.
It's part of the video now.
that's why they call him. And you also get, like I said, you get 9 points for having majority plus 3 for each one that you have.
Majority. meaning-
Majority of the governors.
In each majority region you control.
So
these
governors
regions.
in these
Okay.
regions, yeah.
Okay.
Which are these dudes, the tiny,
3.
tiny babies, yeah.
Well,
And
that was pretty good.
yeah,
That's pretty good.
and that's it. Yeah, we will do all that end scoring. Let me make sure if there's
So-
any other thing that
How do we
scores.
get cards?
We get 6 cards each round.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you grab these tokens, right? You were gonna check what color you get.
You get your choice.
Your choice. And then what if there's none left?
Then sucks to be you.
You don't get one of the small ones.
Yeah. It's just basically big one or nothing.
Everything except something is limited.
Workers are unlimited.
Workers are unlimited. Workers are.
Workers are those hammer
Are you
dudes.
still recording, Remy?
Yeah. Are we done?
And I think that's it. Yeah, we